So I didn't talk about this right away, mostly because, well, I didn't think it was confirmed, but I guess, yeah, it's all but confirmed now. Well, officially confirmed, that DC has announced they are planning to do a Man of Steel 2 movie. Can we just call it Superman? Is that, first off, can we just call it Superman? Now, look, I kind of enjoy I like Man of Steel. I liked it when it first came out, but the more I watch it, it's like, the more flaws I find in the film. Do I still like Man of Steel? Yeah, it's interesting, but when you put it right next to Batman v Superman, it's like, man, a lot of the stuff in there just does not hold up in here. Yeah, that's kind of the problem, is that I still find it good, but the more I watch it, the more flaws I find in the film. It's one of those kind of films that it's like a bitter taste. I don't absolutely hate the movie. If you like Man of Steel, that's totally fine, and I enjoy it to an extent. But yeah, I will admit that there needs to be room for improvement. Now, the big thing is that this is in pre-production. That usually transitions to if Wonder Woman and if Suicide Squad continues to underperform, which it sadly is. I mean, yeah, Suicide Squad is by no means a masterpiece, but I enjoyed it. If you didn't like it, that's totally fine. I can see why. But if Wonder Woman doesn't do well and Justice League doesn't perform well, then probably the DC will be like, we weren't doing a Man of Steel movie, a Man of Steel 2 movie. No. Scrap the movie. Anyway. But I would like to see a Man of Steel 2 film, but I would like to see a different director. Now, a lot of people have talked about a lot of directors, and a lot of people have suggested George Miller, the director of the Mad Max films, and oddly enough, the Happy Feet movie. Yeah, get your head around that real quick. Just let that sink in. The man who directed Mad Max Fury Road and The Road Warrior and all the other Mad Max movies did a movie about dancing penguins. Just let that sink in. Yeah, it just blows your fucking mind, doesn't it? Anyway, I think he would be cool, and he was supposed to direct a Justice League film. So I think it would be cool to see him, because he really knows how to direct human characters and he really knows how to do a human story and balance out action. If you guys remember Fury Road, it's a very human story about, it's in a post-apocalyptic world, mind you, but it's a very human story revolving around, Furiosa and Max. And it's a really great arc, and, he's a very show kind of director. He doesn't need to go over explanation or anything, and he knows how to write these characters, insane as they are, they can be very, human at the same time. And I really want that for a Superman movie, to be very, you can have tons of action as long as you give us a very human story about Superman, because that's the core, I've always felt, is the core of Superman, is that he works best when he's don't make him this dark and brooding Masonic character. Make him, this god trying to be a man. Don't make it a man trying to be a god. Make it about a god trying to be a man. That is the core of what Superman is. I think he can do a lot of action and do a lot of cool stuff revolving around Clark Kent. About more or less, you could have it that the world. I came back. It's obviously because if you've seen Batman v Superman, Superman died. So have it that when he comes back, have it like he's still kind of like, what the hell do I do with my life? I'm people. There are still people out there who fear me, and there's still other people who worship me because I pulled a JC on everybody. So what the fuck do I do now? And you could have it that maybe, when he comes back, the government is like, well, can we trust him? He came back, and he's very powerful. We saw what he did. So what if he didn't come back fully, he didn't come back to defend us? We need to have this kind of contingency to fight him. And then they bring it, and this is just me spitballing of what villains I'd like to see. And there's two villains three. Let me say three. There's three villains, and there's tons of Superman villains I'd love to see, but there are three villains in particular I'd love to see Superman go toe-to-toe with, finally in a DC film. And first off, I would have it that in one form, you have a government agency kind of take some of Lex's notes and take the kryptonite. They confiscate the kryptonite, right? And what they do is create a mechanically enhanced tactical, long-lasting operative, a.k.a. the Metallo Project. See what I did there? I'm schmirked. Yeah, so they create Metallo. You could even have you could probably change John Corbin. I know John Corbin was like a 2-bit hood more or less, and he was like a aspiring crime boss. But I think John Corbin is enough of a character you can change a bit that maybe he was a soldier, maybe he went AWOL, and to redeem himself, you could even have Waller in charge of this. You could have him Waller, maybe have John Corbin. You can even take the soldier element out now that I think about it. You could just have John Corbin. Better yet, here's a better idea. Instead of the soldier element, and you could still have Amanda Waller part of this, is have that John Corbin is locked up for murder and grand larceny and shit like that. He's locked up in Bel Rev or somewhere else. And what happens is that Waller comes to him and saying, look, Superman's back and we need a contingency to see because he's still dangerous. I'm afraid of him. The rest of the government's not. How about you help me? So Waller basically just makes Metallo out of John Corbin, and initially she wants to put him as the member of the Suicide Squad, but she's like, nah, I'll save him for when we have to fight Superman. You could do that, I was for one split second I was thinking, yeah, you could do the soldier element, and I think you could get away with that with John Corbin because he's not. He's a cool character, but let's face it, Metallo's like a character. I feel like you could change it in this form, but on the other hand, I'm like, I'm too much of a Superman. At the same time, I'm like, I think that would be something like a movie would do. That's something in the movies they would do. But at the same time, I'd be like, I'm too much of a Superman purist to make John Corbin a former soldier. And we've had enough of, military experiments as it is, so yeah, let's just have Waller come to, John Corbin, the petty hood, and just be like, hey, I got an idea. You come work for me. I'm going to make you a guinea pig, and we're going to, I'm going to make you fight Superman. Maybe even have it that Superman busted Corbin. Yeah, just have Superman bust Corbin when he's trying to, smuggle kryptonite or something, and Corbin's like, yeah, I want to fight Superman. I'm going to kick his ass. Next character is definitely Bizarro. I think Bizarro would be a cool element to have in here. Again, you could play with Argus and have it that, they looked at Lex's whole Doomsday Project and maybe that didn't work so well. Maybe he went a little too overboard, but I think we can make a better clone, make a true American Superman. Or you could have that another country makes this Bizarro. Like someone robbed Superman's grave, and stole some of his DNA, or have it that when Superman died, when Superman was killed by Doomsday, some of the blood was left behind, and someone came along and went, yep, Superman's blood, that's mine now. Kind of like how in Godzilla 85, when Godzilla left, when Godzilla was put in the mountain, in the beginning of Godzilla vs. Biollante, we saw all these factions from American and Japanese and even some other government groups scrap up Godzilla's DNA and try to, weaponize it. So yeah, of course people would want a Superman of their country. So yeah, have some other country try to take some of Superman's DNA, goes horribly wrong, and boom, we have Bizarro. And here's what I want to have with Superman if you use Bizarro as the main villain in this story. You can have Bizarro as the villain, but don't make him a villain. You can have him as the bad guy, but what I like about Bizarro is that he's just the victim. He's not really... The best way to describe Bizarro, and yes, I know there's different variations of Bizarro, but my favorite interpretation of Bizarro is when he's just a child. When he's a clone. He's an imperfect clone, and he's more or less has the mind of a child, and what he thinks he's doing is right, because he thinks he's being Superman, even though he completely destroys everything. So... you have it that Superman, he fights Bizarro. He goes to fight Bizarro, and he's like, why do I have to kill him? He didn't ask for this. He didn't ask to be born. This is my chance to, reconcile what I did to Zod. Yeah, Zod was no angel, but he was one of my people, and I just snapped his neck, and I made a split decision and snapped his neck. I'm not going to just kill somebody who was just forced by somebody else. Bizarro was just forced by somebody else to fight me. He thinks he's doing the right thing, so I don't want to hurt him. So in that, you could have, Superman be Superman and be like, I'm going to take Bizarro, I'm going to find a place, and I wish they kept, do they still, I forget in Man of Steel, I'm forgetting, but did they save the computer? Did they save the suit, did they save something? Can we have the Fortress of Solitude? some Kryptonian technology. I don't know. Have it that, if they hadn't killed Dr. Hamilton off, just off the fly, you could have that Hamilton finds a habitable planet, Superman takes Bizarro there, and he's like, this is where you're going to be now. This is your metropolis. Have it Bizarro world, yeah. Have, Superman not just punch a way out, use his fists to get out of a situation. Have it that he is trying to find the human way out of it, as Superman would. I don't think he would look at, Bizarro and think he's another Doomsday. He would be like, yeah, you're, Doomsday, in a way, he was just a mindless monster, and he was clearly in pain, but I got another chance with this. I've got this Bizarro, this monster, this one I'm fighting, actually has sentient intelligence. It thinks it's doing the right thing, and it's been, more or less forced to do all of this. And you could argue with Doomsday the same way, but Doomsday was just this mindless monster that Superman could just, even if he tried to talk his way out of it, he wouldn't be able to. With Bizarro has some semblance of intelligence, so he could at least try, Superman could at least try to reason with Bizarro. And you could have it like, that's a cool, I think that would be interesting to have Superman, instead of just snap, no, goodbye, neck, just be like, yeah, hey Bizarro, you're not so bad. You did some bad shit, but it wasn't your fault. You're gonna stay here, okay? Because that's what I think. I'd love to see Superman, talk, just be the human that obviously alien, but he sees himself as an Earthling first and foremost, and try to be like, look, you're not the bad, you did some really bad shit, but I understand you were trying to do the right thing, and in your mind, you were doing the right thing. And you're too powerful to stay on Earth. So I'm going to take you to a place where you can use all your power and you won't hurt anyone. Welcome to your planet. Have fun. Yeah, I would be totally fine if Superman didn't kill it, if he just ended, if you have Bizarro, just have him take him to Bizarro World at the end of the movie. I'd be fine with that. And now we move on to the final villain, and I'm pretty sure you all know who I want, and this is the villain I want first and foremost in a Superman movie, and that villain is Brainiac. Yeah, Brainiac, not only my favorite Superman villain, also my favorite DC Universe villain. Obviously, Superman, you're gonna have to kill him. I know, but first I would have it that Superman tries to talk to him. I would have it that, rather than just be like, oh, Brainiac bad, me punch, it would be more like, look, Brainiac, don't want to do this. I had to kill Zod. Had to kill Doomsday. I don't like doing this. This shit's ridiculous. Can we talk about this? And Brainiac's like, no. You even have it that Superman doesn't kill him. Maybe you could have it like with the Jeff Johns story, Superman Brainiac, where he just he tears him out of his ship, throws him on the ground, and he's just like, welcome to Earth. Yeah, he had a Will Smith moment in that comic, I know. So I think that would be a cool way to play it out, is, Brainiac is here, and have him that he shrunk, he's captured Metropolis. And now he's taking it, and Superman, maybe even have it Kandor in the story. You could even have Kandor in the story, and this could be actually a cool way to introduce Supergirl into this universe. Maybe. I don't know. But yeah, you can have Kandor in there. And I don't know if you would do Reign of the Supermen in that story. I don't know if you'd have Kandor in there. But yeah. Also, it looks like it won't be, it looks like in this universe, Brainiac wasn't responsible for destroying Krypton as he is in the comics and in the animated series. So, yeah, maybe have it that Brainiac destroyed the colonies. Maybe have it that, he's the reason why the Kryptonian colonies did not survive. That could be a cool way to do it. Yeah. But there's, with Brainiac, I think, yeah, he's a villain I think we've all, not just me, but I think a lot of us have wanted to see in a Superman movie for a long time. But yeah, Metallo, Bizarro, and Brainiac are like the three villains I would really like to see in a Superman film, in a second Superman film. For directors, I think like I said, George Miller would be my first pick, but I can see a few others. Some people have said Guy Ritchie, which is a kind of a weird pick, but at the same time I can see it. I don't know. It's weird. It's weird, but first and foremost, I would say George Miller for me. Anyway, so I know I talked a lot about the villains, but yeah, I just want it to be like I said earlier, I want a Superman story where he doesn't try to, I would like to see action. Yeah, I think we all enjoy action, but really, I want to see Superman, like, not only just fight his way out of a situation, I want to see him talk his way out of a situation. Try to show the world that he's not some Masonic character, not some, being to be threatened by. He's just a farm boy from Kansas. That's how that's how Superman's always viewed himself. Just be like, yeah, I'm no god, I'm no messiah. I'm not, I'm none of those things. I'm just a good Samaritan. Just want to help the world. That's kind of what I want from a Superman movie. Not him brooding, just be like, yeah, I know who I am, I'm gonna go do it. Yeah. Anyway, so what do you guys want in a Man of Steel 2 movie? Who do you want to see direct it? What villains do you want to see? And what do you want to see out of this movie? What kind of, what do you want to see Superman be like in this story? Anyway, so, yeah, just comment below, let me know, and once again, hope you all enjoyed this, and I will see you guys later.